Tuscaloosa to frenzy. It's caught. It's caught. We talked about
Alabama reaches the College Cup for the first time. The first soccer championship in school history.
Roll Tide and welcome to the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by my co-host Kenzie Hughes. Kenzie, it's good to be back home in Tuscaloosa after, again, more travel for me the last few weeks.
Hey, it's good to have you back. It's always an exciting time when we can talk about some Alabama gymnastics, because it was a great week for the Crimson Tide. It was tough to pick where to start, but a season-high score for the Alabama gymnastics team, it's a pretty great place to start.
Yeah, the 10th-ranked Crimson Tide did that in the 20th annual Power of Pink meet. This year's opponent for that special meet was number 18, Georgia.
For the third time this season and the second time in 5 days, the Tide rolled to a season high, tying 49-6 on the uneven bars, highlighted by back-to-back 9.950 scores from Shania Adams and Luisa Blanco. Adams recorded yet another 9.950 on the balance beam before the Gym Tide steamrolled through the floor exercise, as every Alabama gymnast posted a 9.9 or higher score for the first time this season to claim the program record 49.75 score.
The season-high 49.750 mark on floor was also tied for the second highest score in the nation on the event. Crimson Tide swept the event titles as Blanco captured the all-around title with a 39.675 and a share of the title on the uneven bars with her teammate Shania Adams. Adams also claimed the balance beam title, and Gabby Gladio won both the vault and the floor exercise titles. In the win, Alabama tied for the third highest team total in program history with a 198.075.
With that season-high score, Alabama moved up one spot in the rankings to 9th this week. The Crimson Tide also ranked 2nd in the uneven bars and 8th on vault.
And congratulations to Shania Adams as she was named the Southeastern Conference Specialist of the Week. Adams won a share of the uneven bars title with a 9.95 and captured the first place on the beam with another 9.95.
Stay with us. We'll head over to the hardwood and talk about some Crimson Tide basketball when we return.
TideTV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
And for the first time since 2010, the Alabama Crimson Tide is an NCAA region.
Here today as we introduce Rob as the next head coach of Alabama baseball.
I don't need to sell Alabama. This program has laid the foundation. Now it's time for us to knock down the gate to Omaha, and we're going to do that here real soon.
Welcome back to the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover alongside Kenzie Hughes. The Alabama men's basketball team has a huge matchup on Saturday night at home against Tennessee.
That they do, but before that top 15 matchup against the Volunteers, the 13th ranked Crimson Tide traveled to Oxford on Wednesday night to take on the 19-8 Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss grabbed the first lead of the game on this dunk just seconds into the contest. Alabama evened the score right back on this layup from Jaron Stevenson. But from there, it was all Ole Miss as the Rebels never trailed the rest of the half. But down 14 with just over 5 minutes to go in the half, Alabama went on an incredible 16-5 run over those last 5 minutes to cut the Ole Miss lead to just 3 at the break, 42-39, as Mark Sears led all scorers with 15 points in the first.
Crimson Tide continued their hot play into the second half. A Mark Sears layup just over 3 minutes into the second half gave the Crimson Tide the lead, and Bama never trailed again. Rylan Griffin was red hot after the break, scoring all 14 of his points in the first 12 minutes of the second half. Alabama led by just 4 with over 7 minutes to go, but the Crimson Tide from there used a 13-4 run behind a couple of Davin Cosby Jr. three-pointers to give the Tide a 13-point lead, 87-74. A couple of more threes by Cosby in the final minute and a half of the game put the Tide over the century mark for the 9th time this season. That ties the SEC record.
Alabama scored 80 points in the final 25 minutes of the game as the Tide picked up a big road win in Oxford over the Rebels, 103-88. Mark Sears had a team-high 26 points, and what a game from Aaron Estrada as he made history as he became just the 3rd player to record a triple-double in Crimson Tide history. Estrada totaled 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. He was also efficient shooting as he knocked down 7 of 11 from the floor, including 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, as he also sank both of his free throw attempts.
Huge game from Estrada as 6 players scored in double figures for the Crimson Tide. Freshman Davin Cosby Jr. also had a career game with 15 points, knocking down 5 of 10 from 3. The win improved the Tide to 20-8 overall and tied with Tennessee atop the SEC at 12-3.
And Crimson Tide fans, get ready! ESPN's basketball version of College Game Day is coming to Tuscaloosa for the first time ever for Saturday's matchup against number 4 Tennessee. Doors open at 9:30 for students and 10 o'clock for general public. The show begins at 11. Tip-off for that matchup between the Tide and Volunteers is set for 7 o'clock. The game will be broadcast on ESPN.
And congratulations to Richard Hendricks, a former standout for the Crimson Tide men's basketball team from 2005 through 2008. Hendricks is one of 14 who have been selected for the 2024 Southeastern Conference Basketball Legends. Hendricks was an All-American and a second-round NBA draft pick, currently one of our favorite analysts for the SEC Network, and he'll be honored coming up at this year's SEC tournament in his new hometown of Nashville. Congratulations to Richard, a great player and even better person. We've gotten to work with him before on SEC Network Plus. He's a blast.
He is a blast. He's certainly a champion, so roll Tide to that. The Alabama women's basketball team took on the other SEC team from the Magnolia State on Sunday. The Crimson Tide hosted the 20-8 Mississippi State Bulldogs at Coleman Coliseum. Alabama knocked down 4 3-pointers in the first 5 minutes, including 2 from Aaliyah Nye to jump out to a 5-point lead, 16-11. Freshman Essence Cody closed out the first period, scoring 5 consecutive points to give Alabama a 25-16 lead after 1. The Bulldogs retook the lead in the second at 34-31, but the Tide closed out the half on a 9-3 run to take a 3-point lead at the break, 40-37.
Mississippi State battled back and took the lead once again in the third, but 3 3-pointers from Aaliyah Nye helped Alabama end that third period up by double digits at 66-55. Crimson Tide would lead by as many as 19 in that final period as Alabama rolled to its 21st win of the season with the 87-75 win over Mississippi State.
Alabama connected on a season-high 36 field goals as Aaliyah Nye tied the school record with 8 3-pointers in the game as she finished with a career-high 28 points. Nye also became the school's leading in three-pointers made in a single season.
Sarah Ashley Barker picked up her third double-double of the year. She totaled 22 points and 12 rebounds. Freshman Essence Cody scored 15 with 7 boards, while Jessica Timmons added 12 points. And for the third time this season, Essence Cody was named the SEC Freshman of the Week, as she had 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks in the Tide's win over the Bulldogs. Cody leads the team in rebounds at 6.4 per game and blocks, averaging 1.9 per contest.
The win improved Alabama's record to 21-8 overall and 8-6 in the SEC. It also put the Tide in sole possession of 5th place in striking distance of that number 4 seed for the SEC tournament.
Could the Alabama baseball and softball teams remain undefeated after another week of play? We'll have the highlights coming up next, right here on Tide TV This Week.
Fan base is one like no other. All right, that's for real. What you got here, your home field advantage is for real.
In front of a full house at the Rhodes House.
Back it goes to the wall, and it's gone! A miracle comeback for the Crimson Tide! How about some noise at the Rhodes House tonight?
And the Crimson Tide will ride this season's wave all the way to the World Series.
Welcome back to the Crimson Tide Production Studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover alongside Kinsey Hughes. And Kinsey, it has been a great start to the season for new head coach Rob Vaughn and the Alabama baseball team.
It has, Roger. The Crimson Tide played their second weekend of baseball this past weekend here at the Joe. And for more on that, our Lillian Everest joins us now.
After a perfect 5-0 start to the season, the Alabama baseball team looked to keep that momentum going and get their second sweep of the season with a 3-game series against Valparaiso.
In Game 1, Alabama put up runs early. In the bottom of the second, a bases-loaded RBI single from Justin LeBron and a 2-run double from Bryce Eblin plated the first 3 runs of the weekend. With 2 still aboard, Gage Miller sent one into the Alabama bullpen for the 3-run home run. 5 more Crimson Tide hitters contributed hits of their own, paving the way for the Tide's 14-2 win. Defense also flashed some leather throughout the weekend. Evan Slight came up big on this home run robbery to keep Valpo off the board in the second. On the mound, Ben Hess picked up Friday's win as he improved to 2-0 as a starter for the Tide. The Bats stayed hot through to Saturday in the Tide's series-clinching win. Home runs were the story of Day 2 with Gage Miller, Ian Petrutz, Coleman Mizell, and Justin LeBron all recording homers in the bottom of the first, and the Tide ended the frame with a 7-2 lead. In the third, the Tide plated 5 more runs off the bats of Miller, Evan Slight, and Matt Cassetti, and defensive errors brought home 2 more. An RBI double from Slight in the 5th inning would be all the Tide would need in their 13-3 victory. On the mound, Aiden Moza joined Ben Hess with a 2-0 record as a weekend starter. Sunday saw the Tide's first walk-off win of the season as Alabama completed the sweep against Valpo 11-1. Lefty pitcher Greg Ferrone picked up his first start and his first win in the Alabama uniform, allowing just 2 hits throughout the game and striking out 5 batters. Offense stayed hot as Alabama ended the 6th frame, leading 9-1, thanks to a joint effort from 6 different Crimson Tide hitters. After Justin LeBron was hit by the pitch in the 7th inning, TJ McCants sent one to center field for the 2-run home run, ending the game and completing the series sweep against Valparaiso. The Tide outscored the Jaspers 38-6 on the weekend.
With the series sweep, the Crimson Tide improved to 8-0 on the season. Reporting from the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Lillian Everest with Tide TV.
The weekend. Thank you, Lillian. The Tide was back in action on Wednesday night against UAB at Regents Field. The Blazers jumped out to a 4-0 lead, but 2 two-run homers from Bryce Eblin and TJ McCants evened the score at 4-all. With the score tied at 10-all in the 10th, Alabama scored 3 runs to secure the win. UAB used 9 pitchers on the night, while Alabama sent 4 to the mound. And the freshman from Birmingham, Matthew Herberger, secured the last 5 outs of the game to pick up his first win of the season, as the Tide improved to 9-0 on the year with a 9-7 win in 10. A great start to the season for Rob Vaughn and the Crimson Tide baseball team. You know who else has had a great start to the season, Roger? The Alabama softball team.
Yeah, they certainly have, as Patrick Murphy's squad is also undefeated after 3 weekends of action. This past weekend, Alabama traveled to Birmingham as well to take part in the Green and Gold Classic. In the first game against UAB on Friday, Alabama scored 8 runs in the first, including a 3-run shot from Jenna Johnson, her first homer of the year. Crimson Tide held the Blazers' bats in check behind some great defensive plays. Alabama closed out the game on a double play to shut down UAB and pick up the 5-inning run rule victory 8-0. Also, Alabama defeated Western Carolina in Game 2 on Friday night. Lauren Johnson drove in 2 runs as Jayla Torrance earned her 5th win of the year. Aaliyah Johnson picked up her first save of the season, pitching 2 shutout innings to close out the game.
A grand slam from Riley Valentine put the game out of reach for the Crimson Tide in the 5th in Saturday's first game against Bradley. Aaliyah Johnson picked up win number 2 on the season as she allowed just 1 run as the Crimson Tide defeated the Braves 10-1.
In the final game on Saturday, it was a rematch against North Alabama. Jenna Johnson tied the game at 3 with a 2-run double, and Abby Dukeshire blasted a 3-run homer in the 5th, while Marley Giles added a solo shot to give Alabama the 8-3 win. Skayla Beaver picked up her 5th win of the year. The Alabama offense exploded for 15 runs in the final game of the Green and Gold Classic against UAB. Crimson Tide hit 4 home runs as Abby Dukeshire started things off with a 2-run shot to left center in the first. Already up 10-0 in the third, Kendall Clark smashed one over the wall in left center field to make it 12-0 Bama.
Then Marley Giles added a pair of home runs, one in the 3rd and another in the 5th, as the Crimson Tide run-ruled the Blazers 15-0. 3 Alabama pitchers combined for the 3-hit shutout as Jayla Torrance moved to 6-0 on the year with the Alabama win, and Alabama improved to 16-0 on the season.
And Jenna Johnson was named the SEC Co-Player of the Week as she led the Crimson Tide with 8 hits and 9 runs scored over 6 games. Last week, batting .615, 6 runs batted in, Johnson also hit her first home run of the year in Friday's 8-0 win over UAB. Stay with us, we've still got a lot to talk about, including one team who picked up a huge championship win over the weekend. We'll tell you who it was and what title they won, coming up next, right here on Tide TV This Week.
And for the first time since 2010, the Alabama Crimson Tide is an NCAA region.
Here today as we introduce Rob as the next head coach of Alabama baseball.
I don't need to sell Alabama.
Start the party for the right field Rangers.
This program has laid the foundation. Now it's time for us to knock down the gates of Omaha, and we're going to do that here real soon.
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week. This is our championship segment this week, as we have a couple of tennis champions to talk about, along with a couple of SEC championships.
First championship involves the Alabama women's tennis team and the Blue-Gray National Tennis Classic held this past week in Montgomery.
Under first-year head coach Jonathan Burhane, the 35th ranked Crimson Tide defeated the 42nd ranked Arizona 4-3 in their opening round matchup. In round 2, Alabama faced off against 24th ranked Illinois and defeated the Fighting Illini 4-1.
And then in the championship match, Alabama defeated 22nd ranked Texas Tech 4-2 to capture the Blue-Gray National Tennis Classic Championship for the first time since 2015. Along with the championship title, the 3 wins improved the Tide's record to 9-1 and 13th in the ITA team rankings.
And for her performance in the Tide's championship weekend, Ludmila Binchek was named the SEC Women's Player of the Week. Binchek won 2 of her 3 doubles matches, while also winning 2 of her 3 singles matches.
And Priya Nelson was also named the SEC Women's Freshman of the Week as she stepped into the 6th spot for the championship match against number 22 Texas Tech and came away with a victory to clinch the Blue-Gray National Tennis Classic title for just the 3rd time in school history.
Over on the men's side, George Husak's 18th ranked Crimson Tide defeated Rice 4-1 in their opening round match. Alabama won the doubles match in their 2nd round match against Princeton. The Tigers won 4 of the 6 singles matches to earn the 4-3 win. Alabama bounced back in their final match with a 4-2 victory over Auburn to earn 3rd place at the Blue-Gray Tennis Classic. The men are now 10-5 and 18th in the ITA team rankings.
The Alabama swimming and diving team took part in the SEC championships at Auburn this past week. 3 school records were broken in the men's 800 freestyle relay. Charlie Hawk was part of that record-setting performance as he also broke 2 more, the 200 freestyle relay start and the 500 freestyle record.
The Crimson Tide also captured 4 medals. Hawk picked up a silver in the 200 freestyle and a bronze in the 500 freestyle. Avery Wiseman took home the silver medal in the 100 breaststroke, while the men's 400 freestyle relay team took home the bronze. The Crimson Tide diving team will return to action on March 10th for the NCAA Zone B Championships. The women's NCAA Championships begin on March 20th, and the men's will kick off on the 27th.
The Alabama track and field team competed at the SEC Indoor Championships this past week as well. On the women's side, the distance medley relay team earned silver, while Doris Lehman-Gole took silver and Hilda Olumomoy won the bronze in the 3,000 meter. Brenda Tuwe won silver in the 5,000.
On the men's side, Reuben Banks won silver in the weight throw, with Chris Robinson capturing bronze in the 400 meter and Victor Kieprop winning bronze in the 3,000 meter race. After a week, the Alabama track and field team will return to action at the NCAA Indoor Championships in Boston.
Before we get a break, let's take an all-access look at some of the best moments for the Crimson Tide at the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships.
Showers, all tears, but no hope we shattered. Strong will, mind over matter. Top skills, not all the chatter. Top kill, climb all the ladders. Glory, glory, I am coming for that glory. Competition getting buried till they call me legendary. Glory, glory, I am coming for that glory. Competition getting buried till they call me legendary. Glory, glory, I am coming for that glory. Competition getting buried till they call me legendary. Glory, glory, I am coming for that glory. Competition getting buried till they call me legendary. What my soul is on, wipe out like a jar, like that baby. Competition getting buried till they call me legendary. Glory, glory, I am coming for that glory. Competition getting buried till they call me legendary. Glory, glory, I am coming for that glory. Competition getting buried till they call me legendary.
See you at Nationals.
Tide TV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
Your fan base is one like no other. All right, that's for real. What you got here, your home field advantage is for real.
In front of a full house at the Rhodes House.
Back it goes to the wall, and it's gone! A miracle comeback for the Crimson Tide! How about some noise at the Rhodes House tonight?
And the Crimson Tide will ride this season's wave all the way to the World Series.
That one's hit well. Caught! Leaping catch above the wall by Evan Slight, and he robs Denty of a home run. That's hit well. It's deep to center field, and it is gone. He did it again. Two-run home run for T.J. McCants, and it's a walk-off.
That's line to third. Caught, diving back to the bag. Double play, Gage Miller.
Hit high and far down the left field line and gone. A three-run homer for Jenna Johnson, her first homer of the season. That's hit the opposite way and drops down for a base hit. Clark comes up firing home, and they get Brock in plenty of time to retire the side.
Finds Nye, loads up a three-pointer, hits a three-pointer, a career-high 28 points for Aaliyah Nye.
Front layout, front Rudy, sky-high split jump.
Devin Cosby. This is a career night for the freshman. He's got 15.
Those were our plays of the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
Now let's take a look at our players of the week, and we'll start with baseball. And T.J. McCants, the senior outfielder, hit a triple. Also had 3 homers this past week, hitting 2 in Game 3 of the Valpo series, including the walk-off 2-run homer for the win on Sunday.
Jenna Johnson led the Alabama softball team with a .615 batting average over 6 wins, earning her SEC Co-Player of the Week honors. Along with her 8 hits, Johnson also scored 9 runs, drove 6 in, and had her first home run of the season.
Gabby Gladio helped lead the Gem Tide to their highest team total of the season and 3rd highest in program history. Gladio won 2 event titles on the vault and the floor exercise.
And Aaliyah Nye set a new career high in points with 28 in the win over the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Nye also broke the school record in three-pointers made in a single game with 8.
And Aaron Estrada made history as he became just the 3rd player in Crimson Tide history to record a triple-double. Estrada with 18 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists in the Tide's 103-88 win over the Ole Miss Rebels. Some really great performances for our players of the week, and just all-around great team performances as well, so roll Tide, Kenzie.
Roll Tide to that, Roger, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Tide TV This Week. We'll see you next week right here, same time, same channel.
You can also watch us online at RolledTide.com and the official UA Athletics page on YouTube. See you next week, everyone. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield.